And I'll use the Benavidez case as just an example. And this was started back by Floyd Mayweather. Okay. And I didn't like it then, and I expressed it then, and I don't like it now. And everybody has followed suit with what he was doing. And that's the following: he was fighting twice a year, typically September and May. So he would do testing for, say, 8 weeks before the fight. Then he would test again in May, and he would go into testing 8 weeks before the May event. But from May until 2 months before September, and the same thing between September and May, there's no testing, zero testing. So whoever it may be, Benavidez and Andrade or Spence and Crawford, during those times, they can use all the performance enhancing drugs they like because they're not being tested. Except for the only exception to that is this WBC program, which is inept, but still, I'm glad that it's there because they give a budget of about $10,000 a month to Vada, and then that enables them to do about what we call target testing. About 4 boxers per month get tested. A specific example of somebody they busted using the clean boxing program was the very first test for Conor Benn. The second test was done by Vada because he selected to sign up and pay through Matchroom to do Vada testing. But the very first test was a part of the target testing that they did, and when he came back and tested positive. So the point I want to make is that when you do these drugs in conjunction with intensive weight training and all sorts of things that also enhance protein synthesis or muscle growth or increase power and speed, these gains carry over for months and months, if not years. So what I'm telling you is, we'll go back to Mayweather. He would be in a pool, and then right after the fight, now's the time they need to test Benavidez, not previous to the fight, because that's when you can use the drugs, develop the speed and power gains, and then use that all the way up until the time when you sign to do the testing and enter the testing pool. Well, that's not unannounced random testing. That's called announced testing. So if you know there's going to be testing, all you have to do is just taper off, and different drugs have different clearance times. And next thing you know, you're into the pool. And if you notice, though, a lot of the boxers that do VADA testing, when they do test positive, typically, like BJ Saunders, like Conor Benn, the very first time they test them, they catch him because they may possibly miscalculated that taper period. So anyway, that's a couple of the things that I saw on your chat board that I wanted to address. And so I'll turn the questions over to you now, and we can carry forward.
All right. Now, I want to make sure that I don't miss anything that you said. So as it comes to my remembrance based on what you said, I'll just ask you some questions for clarification purposes, and then we'll move forward. Let's start with Mayweather. You use the example of Floyd Mayweather. You use the example of Usada. I'm going to interject with Vada. I know that the audience may not be confused at this point. They know Vada and Usada is not the same. On the protocol testing, you did mention, which I think that some of the audience may have understanding of this, is that Vada and Usada, they themselves don't own their own labs. They use WADA accredited labs to perform the testing and the testing protocols, correct?
That is correct. And let me explain something further. As with any doctor or any doing business with any type of lab, whether it be commercial or anti-doping, you have a test requisition form. So whomever is ordering those tests, they check the boxes off. We want growth hormone. We want EPO. We want, the anabolic steroid panel. We want all these different tests. So Vada and the people there are checking off all the boxes for in and out of competition. So it's prohibited substances at all times are being tested. And USADA is checking off certain boxes, a more limited number of substances out of competition compared to in competition. So there's the difference. Now, the one advantage of USADA is, and as you called it, the Olympic style testing. Well, Floyd Mayweather never did Olympic style testing. That's complete and total bullshit. Okay. And here's the reason why. Because Olympic style testing is 24/7, 365. Floyd Mayweather never did 24/7, 365 testing ever in his entire career. Right. So him saying that I brought Olympic style testing to boxing, that is totally deceiving the boxing world.